Hey guys, this is Trevor. Welcome. This is the new format. Got my camera here. It's all snazzy and what have you. So let's go ahead and get started here. This lesson is entitled Singing Tips 13, How to Find Your Own Style, Part 2. I wanted to say thanks for the success of the last one, guys. You guys gave me so many views. I was kind of shocked actually. And that's good because it means that whatever I was giving you guys, hopefully you guys were enjoying. I was getting lots of comments and lots of thank yous, and let's hope we can repeat that with this particular lesson. So let's get right into it. The first part I want to talk about was the range and how, because we're talking about style here, and one of the things you guys need to remember about style is that it is affected by the range. And what I mean by that is that if you were to decrease in your range, you can actually increase your style and what you can do with it. So, like if you can only sing an octave, which is 8 notes, you're only going to be able to do so much with your voice. Whereas if you could sing 4 or 5 or 6 different octaves, which is for really good singers, that's probably what I would, in my opinion, say is a good standard. Well, then all of a sudden you've gone from here all the way up to here, because what you're doing is you're incorporating that extra amount of notes, and because you can incorporate all those extra notes now, you can do different things, because you got to remember that musical theater has a broader range, and like gospel has a broader range, whereas pop and rock have a very limiting range. And so that's just something to keep in mind, because range really can improve that sort of area as far as your own style goes. Okay, so the next part here is vibrato. Now, one of the things I wanted to bring up with vibrato is that each style has its own type of vibrato, and some styles have more and some don't have any at all. The ones that I was thinking of were Celtic music and folk music, like Joni Mitchell. She's an old folk singer. Some of you guys might know what I'm talking about, some of you don't. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. But Celtic music has no vibrato in it whatsoever. At least the stuff that I've heard. It's very straight. It's very crisp. It's a very pure tone. It's very kind of angelic, like la la lo la li lo. I mean, I'm just making up notes right there, but it's got a very unforced, not very super fancy sound, I guess is the best way to say it. And then folk music and indie rock sometimes is a lot of the same too. Like there was a band that came out, I think it was last year. They've been putting together music for a long time, but they're called Metric, and it's an all-female singer. And if you listen to her songs, she has no vibrato whatsoever at all. And it still works for her because she's incorporating it into her particular style. If she was doing something like musical theater, or if she was really trying to show off her voice, a vibrato would need to be present. Another example I was thinking of was crooner music. Crooner music is like lounge type singing. When they're done, or like Frank Sinatra, that's a good example. He was a crooner, and at the end of his notes, he'd put in the vibrato. So an example would be like, let's see here, New York, New York. See, it's at the end of the notes. Whereas with something like musical theater, you have lots of different notes. Like, let's see here, chess. Where would I start? You hear how it was on the where and the start? It's like you have to learn to use the vibrato in different sort of mechanics. So that's all I'm trying to make with that point. If you guys have a question about that particular thing, let me know. Like, what sort of vibrato does rock have? What sort of vibrato does pop have? What sort of vibrato does R&B have? Leave me a question in the comment section below, and I will answer it. So there you have it. Okay, I talked about this in the last part, and by last part I mean the last lesson, but sing what you love. I know I said, you got to be really passionate about what you like. That's probably not a very good way to say it. The best way to say it is sing what you love. What do you guys love to sing? What is your favorite thing? Like when you wake up in the morning, what song is in your head? Or when you're in the shower, what sort of music do you sing? Or when you're on the road listening to the radio, if you guys do listen to the radio, what music are you listening to? So those are the questions I would say ask yourself, because that will help you incorporate the type of things that you want for your own style. Because Well, yeah, you just got to sing what you love. You know, I sing what I love. I love lots of different types of styles, though. I used to only love metal, and that was fine because I was in a metal band, but I was really shooting myself in the foot for a lot of different reasons. And one of the reasons was that there's so many other good styles out there just besides heavy metal. And I wasn't very open to that idea. I was very stubborn, but I opened myself up to indie rock, and I got so many different great music out of that. I got the Decemberists and Block Party and Sufjan Stevens, and then I opened myself up to other outlets, and I listen to some country now, and I listen to R&B, and there's even some things in the pop category that I like. I am actually a fan of some of the stuff Katy Perry does. It's catchy, it might be annoying, but guess what? She's making lots of money with it, so, you know, way to go, Katy Perry. You're doing a great job in my eyes. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm going to go in here and talk about control. Control is very, well, control's like this, it's like this all-encompassing kind of thing. It's funny because the more I've been talking about control, the more I find that it has to deal with other areas. Like it has to do with breathing, it has to do with what sort of muscles you're engaging along with your diaphragm. I talked about that in one of my previous lessons. By the way, if you guys haven't already watched it, go ahead and check out the lesson. It's called Singing Tips 8 Control. It's in the box up here. So go ahead and take a listen. Go ahead and watch it, and you're going to get a lot more on control because I went really in depth with that particular lesson. But I'm going to go in depth on this a little bit more here, and it has a lot to do with breath control. And believe it or not, there's different areas that you can hold tension in your body, and I kind of glossed over this. I just kind of sort of talked about it a little bit, but I want to go in depth on this part too and give you guys some really solid examples of this. So each body part that you have can hold tension, and most people don't know this because they think that, you know, when you hold tension you do this, which is, you know, I'm moving up my shoulders. I don't know if you guys can see it because I'm wearing a black shirt on a brown couch, but I'm sure you can't see that. Anyways, this is what people see a lot. They see this with singers, they see this with live performers. They're doing this as opposed to just doing this, right? But there's different areas. So I'm going to list all these different areas out. You've got the head. And when you see someone who has tension in their head, they kind of look like this. I know that looks really weird, but that's exactly what you'll see. And it'll sound like this. Ah. Now I'm going to take the tension out of my head. Ah. See, I'm not doing anything fancy, but I know you guys could probably hear a difference. Next is the face. When you see someone with tension in the face, they kind of look like this. And I know I'm looking really animated, but you see how it's like I got my face pressed back? Well, when they sing, they do this. Ah. Now let's take the tension out of the face. Ah. Instant sound that you guys could tell. Difference. Another really common one, especially with live musicians, is the throat. Looks like this. Sounds like this. Ah. Without tension, it sounds like this. Ah. You hear how much more pure that sound is? Interesting one is the tongue. When someone sings with their tongue and has tension in it, they sound like this. Ah. When you take it out, it sounds more like this. Ah. Weird, right? Another one is the shoulders. When you hear, this is probably the most common place for people to hold tension because you see it the most in choir. When kids are doing like this and they take a breath and they go, well, that's because they're holding tension in their shoulders and they think that you're supposed to breathe from the shoulders. And you guys obviously can know now that that's wrong. You breathe from your diaphragm. I've got a couple different lessons up here in the sidebar. Watch them, take a look, come back, all that sort of jazz. Anyways, moving on. The shoulders is like this. Ah, and without it, like this. Ah. I'll do that one again because this is one of the most common ones. So with, ah, without. Ah. Pretty neat, huh? Then you have the upper back. Upper back is this area here from your shoulder blades and then down almost to the middle of your back. And it sounds like this when you have tension in it. Ah. Now without it. Ah. Pretty wild, right? Lower back. Lower back is right below your, or almost to your tailbone. And with tension it sounds like this. Ah. And without it sounds like this. Ah. Pretty cool, huh? You can have tension in your arms, and when you have tension in your arms, it sounds like this. Ah. And without, it sounds more like this. Ah. You can have tension in your torso, and it'll sound like this. Ah. And without, it sounds like this. Ah. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but when I take the tension out, it only kind of all sounds like one voice, doesn't it? Just something to keep in mind, because it's like I put tension and then like everything shifts and everything changes like the way the voices. So just something to keep in mind for you guys to check out. Okay, almost done here. You can have tension in your bum, your butt. Yes, you can. And when you do, it sounds like this. Ah. And when you don't, it sounds like this. Ah. You have the legs. When you have tension, it sounds like this. Ah. And when you don't, it sounds like this. Ah. And finally, you can have tension in your feet. I'm actually going to be curling my feet. You guys can't see it on camera, but maybe you can hear me popping my toes. I have a high-def camera with a sweet mic, so we'll see. We'll see and we'll find out. So here it is, tension with the toes. Let's see here. Without. Now that one was interesting because it might be a little bit unrecognizable, but the funny thing is that if you have your toes and then another body part, man, it's going to throw you off. And remember that with tension, you can hold it in one body part, you can hold it in many body parts, and you can have it hiding in body parts and not even know it. When I went to college, I talked about this in one of my previous lessons, but I'll just recap here. I had tension in my body and I didn't even know it. So my suggestion to you guys, singers of all different ranges as far as style goes and as far as expertise goes and skill level and whatever, is to have someone nearby and watch you sing, and then walk around your body in a 360. Make sure you're working with someone you're really comfortable with, and they'll find the tension because they'll be able to see it. They'll be able to spot it. With me, when I was in college, I found out I had tension in my upper back, and I had no idea. And then when I learned to just get it all out, man, it made all the difference in the world. And along with that, there should be no tension in the body when you sing. There just shouldn't. Singing should not be a chore. It should be fun. It should be exhilarating. It could be a challenge. It's always fun when it is a challenge, at least for me. It might be for some of you guys. I don't know. What do you guys? Do you guys like stuff when it's a challenge as far as singing goes? Do you like singing with a challenge, or would you like to sing nothing but easy stuff? Leave me a comment in the comment section below. But referencing it, I use this example of a limp noodle. And basically, it's like, you're like this, and then you just kind of fall down. But watch the lesson. It's in the sidebar again. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's called How to Stop Tension in the Body. So take a look at that. Moving right on. Question of the week. This is from Music Addict Addicted 76. She said, if you were to propose a well-known song to test how well the voice is real, what song would that be then? Thanks. Well, thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. I answered her question, but I thought you guys, other people out there might have the same question. But basically, the answer is for guys, the Star Spangled Banner, because it's a real show-off song. If you could do it right, it shows off control, it shows off range, it shows off style. And for girls, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, by the one that Judy Garland did from The Wizard of Oz. Same thing, it shows off style, it shows off range, it shows off power, shows off control. So there you guys have it. The next lesson we're going to actually be talking more in depth on pitch, because there's a lot there. And yeah, there's just a lot there. So yeah, go ahead, comment, rate, and subscribe if you guys have not already. And as always, subscribe, because it kicks ass. And I love you guys. Subscribers rock my socks. So big yellow button at the top, big yellow button at the bottom. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care.